had a whole Book of Mormon thing planned for this intro, and then I already fucked it up. God damn it. Hello, my name is Elder Fernandez, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Event Podcast. With me, as always, is going forward, as always, this will be the first actual episode that you're technically on, even though we recorded this out of order. It's Kelly McInerney.
Hello. Great to be here.
Yeah, welcome on board, Kelly, officially.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can't tell in the future, but I don't know if we record something to officially announce or anything like that. But if not, welcome. Yay.
This is it.
And with us today, there's going to be episodes where it's just going to be us two talking about movies, talking about whatever movies we want.
But today is not one of those days.
Today is not one of those days. We do have a very special guest on the pod. Very, very funny comic, very funny person, horror filmmaker. I think we can chalk that up on the list now as well. And you want to add?
Horror guru, just
horror guru.
lover.
There we go.
Funny person. Yeah.
Funny friend, a friend of us both.
Friend of the pod.
It's Kandice Martellaro.
I knew you were gonna put it on me.
The more credits you gave me, the more I was like, they're gonna mess up my last.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm so ready for that.
How do you probably say your last name?
Martellaro, but I never ever get mad at anybody. For
No, but you should. I get as a McInerney, I get mad. So Martellaro, say it again.
Martellaro.
Kandice Martellaro is here. Woo! There we go. A proper VO introduction.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, Kandice, thank you so much for being on today. Really appreciate it. And before we get into it, what's your experience with horror? What's been your experience with it?
Oh goodness. What's really interesting. This is gonna be a way too long-winded answer for what you just asked.
That's fine.
But here we go. I studied film in college, and they never where I went. They didn't offer any classes in horror. There was like an Alfred Hitchcock class, but that was it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really think much about it. And then when I graduated, I went through this horrible, horrible breakup. And at that time, I was volunteering for any film festival. I lived in Denver, and I was like, any film festival I can be part of, I'll volunteer. And I volunteered for the Mile High Horror Fest. And at the same time, while I was all like bumming around about this breakup and I was living with my dad, he was like, you know what? This Halloween, we're going to watch a slasher movie every single night leading up to Halloween.
It's a good dad.
Yeah, it was the best. And it got my mind off of being upset. And
said you wanted to kill him, right?
Yeah, let's get his ass. But no.
Let's start with urban legend.
And that's why she's become Maxine now.
But yeah, so that solidified my love of horror, and then here we are. Yeah.
Was your dad a big horror guy?
Honestly, no. That's even funnier. I've brought up to him of this time period meant so much to me that you introduced me to all these movies that I love, and he was like, I did what?
Dad stuff.
Yeah, he was like, oh, okay.
I am a good dad.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, it meant a lot to me. Yeah.
And then what's your go-to I want to say, I guess, genre of horror movies that you're drawn to?
I tend to actually like gothic horror.
Oh.
Yeah, which is both of you in Oh. No,
The Witch?
I was actually incredibly bored by The Witch. I know
okay,
it's
me too.
Okay, good. Because I was I know people will crucify me for saying that, but no, I'm more like I love Insidious.
Okay.
I love the Conjuring franchise, the Conjureverse, if you will. All that type, anything that is Uncanny Valley, and I like to call it delightfully creepy.
Okay.
That I'm into. Anything Mike Flanagan, I'm on board.
I used to babysit for him.
What?
Really?
Yeah. Before Oculus came out.
Oh, okay.
He made his kid watch only Doctor Who and Mr. Fantastic, the Mr. Fantastic Fox. That's only we could watch. No cartoons.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it was mostly his mom I worked with. I never really talked to Mike that much.
Okay.
But
is that Kate Siegel?
Courtney. No.
Oh.
Before Kate.
Another
actress that he worked with.
Oh.
Understood. Got it.
Well, very cool. I don't know. I don't really think we would chalk this one that we're doing today up as gothic horror. Maybe more religious horror.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Heretic? What do you?
Well, there goes the title. Yeah, we are talking about Heretic, released in 2024 this year. Brand new movie, probably still in theaters.
It is. I just saw it last week.
Yeah. Stop contradicting me.
Sorry. I'm not. I'm yes anding.
No, you're yes ending me. You're doing right.
You're peas in a pod.
Aw.
Yeah.
We're adorable. Before we get too much into it, let's take a look at the trailer.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Are you interested in learning about our Savior, Jesus Christ?
Is this the song that they play at the end?
My name is Sister Barnes. And,
Look.
Oh,
Isn't it?
yes.
But okay, that's fun.
Yes, it is.
Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus Christ?
Come on in.
We can't come inside unless another woman is present.
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
No, I will go and
The fastest conversion ever.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they didn't show this in the trailer.
I know.
You know what though? It's the thing that hooked me.
Yeah.
Where I was like,
Yeah.
they're in real trouble. Like, what is this movie?
I like
Grant,
what's her
that's so
face
nice.
from Yellow Jackets.
Is that Chloe East?
No,
or
no,
is
it's
Chloe East the other one.
Sophie Turner?
Sophie Turner.
is
Yeah,
the
okay,
other
got
one.
it.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner.
Little Sophie, whatever her name is, Thatcher.
Yeah, Sophie
Thatcher.
Turner. Sophie Turner's from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Oh,
my
sorry,
bad.
Sophie Thatcher.
Sophie Thatcher plays Little Juliet Lewis
choose which door to go through
in
based on your
Yellow
In Yellow
Jackets.
Jackets.
Gotcha.
What does this have to do with us leaving?
everything.
I think that we're being
This thing annoyed me, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It will make your
I'm like,
heart
what are you trying to do? Hereditary? You can't.
It may even make you want to die.
Not a scary. Sorry.
Completely different.
Trying to make little figurines terrifying? Not on my watch.
You will witness a miracle.
I don't like that either because that kind of like spoils.
I actually disagree. Based off of
This?
the trailer, I thought this was going to be a completely different movie.
Same.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the climbing. I'm like, oh, she's gonna.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah?
It was specifically the climbing. I thought it was going to be a completely different.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So for those that don't know, Heretic, rated R, 1 hour and 51 minutes. Pretty good, decent time. Two young religious women are drawn into a game of cat and mouse in the house of a strange man.
Why don't they just say two Mormon women? Because that's what they were.
That is true.
But
Because it's very
I
specific.
digress.
Because I mean, like the specificity of them being Mormon comes into play later on when he's
Mm-hmm.
doing the whole Monopoly speech.
It does, but I actually, this is so nitpicking, mundane stuff, but I get why they would go with religious. I was thinking about this in the shower as I was getting ready today. But I was thinking about the fact that like you could kind of insert any religion because that's kind of it's about what I love about the movie is it's about faith, not about the actual organized religion.
yeah, that's true
Like,
because
yeah.
he probably did it with other people that were not
Yeah.
like Mormons or
Exactly.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got director Scott Beck, who just looked.
Both of those
Quite-
people, the filmmakers,
Yeah.
wrote and directed A Quiet Place. I
Yeah,
think.
quite. They have
Day
quite.
one?
They have quite a horror filmography. A Quiet Place, Quiet Place Part 2, Haunt, which I really enjoy. The Boogeyman, A Quiet Place. I guess they wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
They helped write the screenplay. Yeah, they have pretty decent like horror.
Robust.
Yeah, so they know horror.
Loved A Quiet Place day one.
Oh yeah, very good. And then in terms of cast, I mean, we got Hugh Grant, and honestly, my favorite thing he's ever been in. This
Yeah.
is like performance wise, like I was just like, this is like delightfully terrifying.
Better
This
than
is,
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm not gonna lie.
He wasn't carrying that movie. It's all Pine, baby.
Last night, my boyfriend Drew, friend of the podcast,
Friend of the pod. We just had him on for Thanksgiving.
he put on Love Actually, and the whole movie I was like, I wish I was watching Heretic.
We also got Sophie Thatcher, Sister Barnes, and Chloe East as Sister
Topher
Paxton.
Grace.
Topher
Making
Grace.
a small role as the elder dude. I recognized
Yeah.
once he started talking. I'm like, that's Topher Grace.
I didn't put it together till the end of the movie, like,
Yeah.
and when the credits rolled.
I
Then
saw
was
his
like,
face. I'm like, that's weird, but he's not blonde. But then when he talked to Hugh Grant, I was like,
Yeah, around his second scene is when I started being like, it's Topher Grace. Oh shit,
I
that's
didn't
Eric
even-
Foreman.
Well, by the way, I used to not like Topher Grace because of a True Hollywood Story about that 70s show
Yeah.
saying like, oh, he never hung out with the others like Wilmer Valderrama, Ashton, and Danny. And now I'm like,
it's like good.
Because
he was right.
one.
He
Yeah.
was smart.
He's actually like the good one of the group.
So this is my public apology to Topher Grace. I'm sorry for shitting on you all these years. And great choice in movies.
And we're ready to see you in more stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just not Eddie Brock. Don't be back. Don't do Venom.
Oh yeah,
again.
please don't do superhero movies anymore,
Fair,
Topher.
fair.
Stay in your lane. And as always, spoiler alert ahead, as we do not hold back on this show. But yeah, like I mean, not from minute one. I mean, the fact that you kind of already know that he has nefarious plans
Yeah.
So
going
wait,
into the movie.
what did you think when you first watched the trailer? What did you think, Candice?
Oh,
what
yeah,
did you
yeah.
think it was going
That's
to be
right.
about?
I honestly thought this was going to be a lot more violent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be more of him putting them through. I thought it was going to be a thing where like these women are in a trap, which it is, but I was expecting something much more excruciating.
I agree.
I was same thing. I was like thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like Saw level charges.
Yes.
Like hopefully your faith will get you through all this or
And
whatever. It's
did
like,
you
ooh.
like that it wasn't?
Yes, this movie was much more up my alley.
Okay.
Like I went in, I'll be honest, my experience seeing this movie was the day after the election. And I was, yeah, and that comes into play. And so I was just like feeling awful. I didn't want to do anything like everybody.
Yeah.
And then another friend of the podcast, Sophia Zolan, texted me and was like, do you want to go see Heretic tonight at the Vista? And I was like, you know what? Let's get out and do something.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure. And I'd wanted to see the movie, but I was really anxious about it. And normally, even though I love horror, I'm also a baby about it. And I'll usually send Drew to see whatever it is first, and then I'll go see it with him a second. He'll go see it a second
Good
time
boyfriend.
out of kindness to me, and then I'll be like, "Tell me when not to look," and stuff. And so I was like, "I'll take a risk with this one, and I'll go." And it ended up being like the salve on my heart that I needed.
Oh,
And
nice.
we'll get there, but Sophia and I both like cried at the same part in the movie. And
Oh.
yeah, we had we both had a very emotional reaction to it.
I think I know what part.
I'm curious to see if you figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
yeah. Was it? Is it the part where?
Oh, when she saves her, maybe? No,
You're warm, but that's not it.
the death
that
of her.
that was my guess. Yeah. Where she comes in with the 2x4 and the nails,
No,
which
I did like.
holy
but-
like that part. I was in my theory. I'm like, holy shit.
Yes. No, I was for it, and I was the whole thing of like, oh, that's the prophet, like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was the point where he asked her like, will you pray for me? And she was like, well, praying doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just nice to think about other people.
That's
And-
true.
Yeah, and like in that heat of the moment of feeling like, God, the world is just a terrible place, and
Yeah.
people will hate each other and stuff. And then seeing this movie where it was like, yeah, you're right. It is just nice to think of other people.
It's so true.
Oh man, yeah, that's the part where he just, which I don't know why I love because I don't think it's it's something you can really do, and I don't want to find out if it's real.
Yeah.
But like just how quick he slashes her throat. That part,
Yeah.
like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I because between the two of them, I thought she was going to make it.
Oh yeah, they
The
set that up
furthest.
so well.
They said, yeah.
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 I thought
And-
Sophia Thatcher was going to make it all the way to the end.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so smart too because they play her into being this dummy, and then she's actually smarter than we all thought. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did do a great thing where there was like misdirects in terms of like who, like I couldn't like there's like weird thing that I kept on seeing like for people with ADHD, which I have, but that's like that we can somewhat predict movies,
Yeah.
like and I've noticed there's times where I'll sit in the theater and I'll be like, but that guy's the killer.
Yeah.
100%. That's fucking that guy's.
That's
that
my
guy's
favorite
fucking-
part about like slasher movies is
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
the
Not even
mystery.
slasher movies, just like just
Yeah.
like stuff that I'm just like, I bet that guy does this. I bet he's cheating on her. And then sure enough,
Mm-hmm.
a minute later, like, you got
He's
caught.
doing
I
it.
told you. I fucking told you.
Yeah.
So this is one of those movies where I'm like looking at him, I was like, I can't figure out what's gonna happen next. This
Yeah.
is he gonna kill Topher? Is he gonna is he
Yeah.
are these like creepy ladies like actual like prophets? Like what is happening?
The creepy ladies being the women he's keeping in the.
At the
in
time,
cages.
I'm talking more chronologically. At the time, I'm like,
Yeah.
these are creepy ladies, and then I'm like, hold on, they're victims. My bad.
Wait, so you are talking about the two leads.
Oh no, they're not creepy.
Oh,
The prophets that he sends
yeah.
down, I'm
Yeah, gotcha.
like, oh, this creepy
I
lady.
thought for a second I was like, I just want to differentiate. We're not talking about the two protagonists.
No.
Because they could be like.
Yeah, but again, even the creepy prophet people are still also victims. It's
Yeah.
just like I was like, oh, I thought they were just.
Yeah,
I thought this was like legitimately he found like some crazy like I found what the Bible was referring to, and here's like a billion-year-old
Yeah.
creepy lady.
No, they did a really good job selling you on that. I thought that too.
Yeah.
I was like, this movie is taking a turn that I wasn't expecting, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, this is all part. Okay, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
also like I mean for me I got really hooked on his speech about religion and comparing it to Monopoly and all
Yeah.
that. Like I was just like
Brilliant.
wow, this is
Yes.
great comparison, great analogy.
Yeah.
And also very funny too. Like just how he's
Yeah.
like
his
that's
accent.
yeah, his accent, his Jar Jar Binks impression.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just like, yeah, this is Hugh Grant, you're delightfully terrifying. This is great.
Also, I came into the movie, just going off of just that trailer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Hugh Grant is a bad guy. Because apart from Cloud Atlas, we never see that. Or
Yeah.
I think that he is in other movies as a bad guy.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, yeah.
True.
But again, doesn't carry it.
But in general, like he's always the charmingly befuddled British guy. And
I'm terribly sorry.
yeah, exactly. charmingly
just-
befuddled.
Wasn't he bad
Charmingly
in
befuddled.
Paddington too, or no?
He is. He is in a Paddington.
He's
in.
bad in Paddington.
Is it the second
Second
one?
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
the best one.
Well, then I take it back. He's a bad guy. But I was still expecting.
Later in life, though.
Yeah.
This is a new
But
thing
that's
for him. You're right.
children's movie bad guy.
Right, but
Yeah.
but I was expecting. I was like, oh, I bet he gives like a completely different kind of performance that we've never seen before, and that's what I was expecting, and I'm glad he didn't.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
the fact that he's still the charmingly befuddled guy makes this so much creepier.
Yeah.
And it's like even during Love Actually last night, I kept leaning over to Drew and being like, I'm a weirdo.
I love the letterbox reviews of these. No fucking way Hugh Grant just compared Jesus to Jar Jar Binks. I shit you not. Hugh Grant sings Creep by Radiohead and meows in this. Jigsaw, if he was an insufferable Reddit atheist. I'm like, I'm with you there.
Yes.
Sorry.
So good.
Yeah.
Dying.
No,
So whenever
he's a
I'm like,
Funny.
do I feel the same? How do I feel about
love
this
your shirt.
movie?
Thank you.
Sorry.
And then I look on Letterboxd and I see, oh, I am not alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not alone. Candice, you and me are not alone in really enjoying this too. I mean, 77% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% tomato score.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good movie.
I'm
Yeah.
just the opposite
It's-
of you in that I wanted it to be more murder. Like what with the trailer, I was like, yes, let's
Yeah.
see some
Yeah,
crazy
same.
shit. And it's like, oh yeah, I also don't believe in religion. So yeah, there is no good religion, Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go kidnap ladies and keep them in cages in the rain or whatever.
I like to think this was a movie about a guy who had just had it with Mormons coming to his door. It's like,
I have an idea.
yeah, like, you know what? You're going to make me sit through a thing. I'm going to take care of you. Like,
I'm always curious with these movies too. Like, how do they tell the construction workers building their house? Like, I got this idea for this room. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about what's going in there. But I need a little like sideways door for only like a cripply little lady to fit in.
I used to have a bit. I might bring it back. But I used to have a bit where I'd ask that same question about Batman.
Yeah.
It's like he's not building the Batcave by himself. He has to have a contractor. He has to. Yeah, well, this is gonna be a rec room. Don't worry about it. I just want a platform. Can you have like a lazy Susan like bring up my car? You know, just one.
Giant lazy Susan.
Also need a pole goes from from my library down right here, and also changed my outfit. For recreation. What are you talking about? But I have that similar thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he even keeps on saying, he's like, you saw my house. It's quite small. It's you just go right to the back and this and that. It's just
When he said that, I was like, you're going to listen to him?
Yeah.
That's not true. There's basements.
Yeah, ladies, there's 2 of you. Take them out. No.
Yes, there's 2 of you and 1 of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they can't get out of the house.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because there was a way out the front door.
But I was very confused by that too, because he's like, it doesn't open till the morning. Like, can
He's
you
lying.
elaborate more?
He's lying.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's like, if I were the girls, I would have looked more in that room for a way to open the door, like a button or something.
What would your first thought have been? Let me like take apart the thermostat.
No, but I would just ruffle around shit, so I might have stumbled upon that. I might have moved. Yeah,
Even even in dire situations, they're polite.
I was going to say, I think the other thing, and this, the thing I
that's
love
true.
about the horror genre in general is it's always reflecting a greater thing going on in society.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it says about this time period, but it seems like there's a lot of movies out about being overly polite.
Yeah.
What's the movie I'm thinking of? The Swedish one that's now
Here,
Midsommar?
Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like that seems to be a common theme about being too polite.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a theme in this movie too, because that hit me hard as like a people pleaser who's always afraid of people being mad at me.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I'll be polite in the weirdest situations where it's like, what, like the way I'm behaving isn't normal. And so like that struck me with the girls where like it's at the point where they know he has them captured and they're still being extremely polite. And I was like, that'd be me. Like, I'd still be like, yeah, I don't want to, whatever to keep you happy, sir. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I also probably a fight or flight response too, of just like, well, we don't want to escalate.
Yeah.
Whatever this
how do
guy
we keep
can.
this calm?
Yeah. Because I mean, as delightfully creepy is, there's still that level of like, we don't know, the shoe can drop at any moment where he just just goes ape shit on them and does something crazy. Which he eventually does. He does slit one of their throats.
Were you guys like religious growing up at all? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I went to youth group.
how did you feel watching this?
Just like I said, like the Monopoly thing really spoke to me, where I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's just a rehashing of like, well, I like what these people had to say, but I have some notes. Let me adjust this. Mormonism. I'm adjust this. Judaism. I'm adjust this.
Yeah.
So I like that analogy. I think it really fits well, and it really fits well in terms of like how I used to view, or how I kind of deconstructed my brain in terms of religion. But even when I was like at my most like Jesus, I was.
How is that?
I went to a Filipino church. There was a lot of dancing. Like, Jesus, guys, come on. A lot of dancing, a lot of ukuleles. I apologize to the Filipino community. But yeah, like watching it, like I did definitely had a sense of just like, like that deconstruction of it all, like made sense to me. I don't agree with his methods, but it makes sense.
I think that's another part of the movie is that makes it fun, is that you're on his side for a lot of it. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, and no, my background was my parents were not into organized religion of any kind, so we were like, I don't know. Like, I guess we followed Christianity in the sense like we did Christmas.
Yeah.
But like we never went to church. But one year, more just out of necessity, I went to like a Christian private school for like a year. And even as like a little kid, I was like, this is not it for me. And my parents were very supportive of that too. They were like, this is weird. And I went to youth group once with a friend that invited me. And I remember it was like the standard like white person Christian youth group. Where they had like some Christian rock band, and all these teenage girls got on the floor and they were like down on the floor, like worship pose. And I was in 4th grade, and I remember leaving and telling my friend, "I think you're in a cult." And she got so upset.
To have that kind of mentality as a 4th grader, great. That's great.
And she got so upset.
Yeah.
I mean, when you do take a step back from religion, I mean, and granted, like all religions are technically kind of cults, but I mean, just not
Truly,
like cults.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you take a step back religion's creepy.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Starts a lot of wars too.
Starts a lot of wars.
It
Too
does
many.
indeed.
Some say a lot. What about you, Kelly? Did you have a religious back growing up?
I was like Protestant. My mom made me go to Sunday school sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I never really liked it once I got communion or whatever, I forget.
Oh, confirmation.
Confirmation
Yeah.
or communion. I only do one of
yeah.
those. But then I was like, I'm good. And I don't know, all my friends that were really religious, or like my brother was really religious. He passed away, and then my mom's cousin was really religious. She's like, I stopped listening to rock music because I thought it was against what Jesus wanted me to. She's like, I just started listening to the Beatles again because I think I can now. I'm like, you think Jesus didn't want you to listen to the Beatles? So I was just like, I don't know, just like too crazy.
That's how it was with The Simpsons with my mom.
Yeah.
She was just like, no, Simpsons is evil. You can't watch it. And then
weird.
I caught one episode and I was like, this is kind of fine. I mean, I call Halloween a Treehouse of Horrors episode.
Yeah.
And it was like the ending where they turn inside out. But I was like, this seems fine. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's just like, fine. You guys are going to do whatever you want to do. Fine. Whatever. Go to hell. I don't care. And then now my mom's just like, it's fine.
Now they
Everything's
can't.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever you're doing, yeah.
She's like, you guys are all right. I'll pray for you.
I'm just curious about people that really are religious, what they think of this movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it's interesting, and I don't have like a verified source to pull from, but I've heard that like the Mormon community really celebrates this movie,
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
which I think is funny because maybe I'm mistaken,
Yeah.
which is nothing. It's all kind of open to your interpretation, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I think you guys have a horrible misread of this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
But I think what they did, the actresses, they grew up, I think, Mormon.
yeah. Sophie
and
Thatcher and Chloe East were both raised Mormon.
So I think they presented well. But I think I disagree because if you didn't see a wife in that room, I would have been out.
yeah.
That's the rules,
You gotta
isn't it?
see. You gotta see
Yeah.
proof before you go through the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are both no longer Mormons, though.
No, no.
Yes.
Yeah, but they were both raised in the Mormon, and they gave valuable insight into the religion while they were shooting the movie.
I didn't.
Makes
That's
sense.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also, I mean, because like Mormons love Book of Mormon,
Yeah.
and that
Oh,
whole
that's
thing.
fun.
Granted, the whole thing is making fun of religion in general, but specifically honing in on Mormonism, just because there's a lot more stuff to poke fun at.
Yeah.
But I think Mormons can see. I think they value the representation and also just being able to almost create that discussion around their religion.
Yeah, I think they're
I
like,
think that's
hey,
what- I
you
think
talk
that's what
about
they-
us? Good. Like more
Great.
publicity.
Let us tell you more.
That, and I guess you're also right that the movie does give a lot of empathy to the parts of Mormonism that we all like. If you're not Mormon, you often associate as a negative.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like the beginning where she's getting made fun of for wearing magic underwear,
Yeah.
and which is
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing until this movie, and then like after I saw it, like it came up in like 3 other things I was watching where I was like, oh, this is like a thing. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd always heard about it. I never really knew specifically what it was until until this movie. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, it's just
She's wearing long johns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's long
like,
johns.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
And even the movie doesn't really like it doesn't vilify or other than critiquing religion and critiquing Mormonism, it doesn't really like vilify it or like say like this is outright wrong or anything
Right.
like that. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot of it's Hugh Grant being like, consider this.
Yeah.
You guys might be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever thought of this? You think of this? Wait, you
Yeah.
heard about this? You guys, religion? Have you heard of it? It's a lot of that, but it's very he doesn't accuse anything of being anything.
Yeah.
Other than when he gets to the end, he's just like, control is the real religion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Which I
Very-
thought he was
very
going to
creepy.
say Satanism. She's walking through these creepy things. Oh,
that's fine. It's fine. It's close.
She's walking through these creepy things, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna what's the right religion? Satanism?
Yeah,
But then
when
for her to say no religion, I'm like, oh, I didn't get that from all these creepy things.
When he was like when he was talking about I found the real religion.
Yeah.
In my pursuit, I found it. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna get like some fucking like biblical time, Bagul kind of stuff going on. He's just like, I found this is Azazel. He's the first angel that fell, and
Yeah.
he's the religion's actually called Bubbeluck, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to like have a
Mhm.
demon in the basement or something at that
Yeah.
point. Like I was ready for him to like start saying like I traced everything back to the original and this and that, but Yeah, control.
But I love that's a misdirect too, because everyone I talked to has a different thing they thought he was going to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Another friend of mine thought he was going to say the patriarchy, which I was like, I don't know why you thought that. But
Because he's a man. No.
yeah, they were like, then he's got all these women in his
Yeah.
control, and that's what he's going to say it. But I'm like, but he wouldn't own that. Like,
Yeah. Before they come to his house, he's like pausing a video of Nick Fuentes or something. He's like, oh, let me get Ben Shapiro off this real quick.
yeah.
Yeah, and Hugh Grant actually said, it was once stated in an interview, I'm getting bored of playing obvious roles and being typecast. And apparently Scott Beck and Brian Woods saw this interview and wrote the role of Mr. Reed with Hugh Grant as their top choice for this role.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, I mean, yeah, like I said, this is like something like I wasn't expecting him to be like I wasn't expecting it, like going in thinking like, oh, Hugh Grant's gonna be terrifying in this movie, but I was
He
expecting.
was also
him,
the bad guy in that staircase show, or with Nicole
but
Kidman.
that's true crime though.
Inside
that's a bit
or outside.
different.
Yeah. He was like the bad husband in that. I think that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, what do you guys talk about? He's been a bad guy.
But this one's more. This
What
one's
is
like
that
a
called?
straight up like this is like we want you to kind of scare people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
more
true.
more than like he could play a villain, and he has played villains or just bad guys, but he's never played like a fucking monster.
Yeah, like I've never, I wouldn't think like Ted Bundy, let's cast Hugh Grant, you know,
Yeah.
and, like, yeah,
I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to beat you to death.
yeah, exactly.
Awfully dreadful.
The Undoing. That's what it was called.
The Undoing. Okay.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you guys have heard this. So the music at the end credits is a version of the 1973 version of Knocking on Heaven's Door, set to the tune of Fade Into You by Maisie Starr.
And
A
then
nod-
Sophie Thatcher sings the last in the credits.
Does she really?
She sings a version of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's a nod to the fact that Creep by Radiohead is a 1992 reiteration of the 1974 song The Air That I Breathe by Hollies, previously mentioned by Grant in the movie.
Yeah.
Why? You know, like, okay, cool. What does this have to do with your religious thought process?
Well,
No, he explained it.
He explained
Yeah.
it. He
Yeah.
explained like that they're
remaking it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything
sorry.
is
the
watered
reason he
down.
sings the Creep song is
Yeah,
because
I
he's
forgot.
like, it's a
Yeah.
reinterpretation of this song.
Yeah.
That's true. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's right. and then Hugh Grant was cast in this film based on his work on Cloud Atlas. Haven't seen it. Don't want to watch it.
Won't see
Not
it.
Won't see it.
interested? Yeah.
Not interested. So we'll just say great.
Yeah,
Good to know.
exactly.
Overall, on the scary scale, Candice, where are you putting this movie at? 1 being Hotel Transylvania, 10 being Terrifier movies. Where you landing?
Oh boy, I'd say like a good 7.
Ooh.
That's
it's
fair.
not-
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's one that made me keep thinking about it after I left,
Yes.
which I think is a good sign, but it's also not one where like we were saying of what I thought it was going to be from the trailer, and I was personally relieved it wasn't this.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be one where like I'm holding my breath the whole movie cuz I'm like I can't handle it, and it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wondering what's gonna come next.
Yeah, it was more introspective.
Yeah, I'd agree with you around like maybe like around a 7. Yeah, 7 seems fair. Yeah. You
Ah, man, I was gonna go like 3. I didn't think it was that scary.
Is
Like
that 3? Is
the
that
whole
3?
time I'm waiting for something scary to happen,
Yeah.
and it was. I hate that. I hate thinking it's gonna be one thing, and then it's like, oh, even the scary part wasn't even. You just swapped her out. Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, and I like religious stuff. I'm like, whatever.
Just doesn't do for you.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It's the same reason I can't get into like exorcism movies. I'm just like, why are you making the demons bad? Guys? Come on.
I like the exorcism movies more. I like a good jump scare. I like being scared, I think. I don't want to think about religion kind of, you know, like, yeah, it is bad. Cool.
You know, it's kind of funny. There's a YouTube channel I write for, though I did not write the video I'm going to talk about, called CZ's World. And he does these things called horror history. And he did an episode, and it turned off not a lot of people. It turned off a handful of people.
Yeah.
But about how there's too much religion in horror movies recently, specifically.
Yeah.
And he did it was like a full long video of like there's religion in every horror movie lately. And he's right, like even slasher movies where that's not typically in the full, like as we saw, I love the X trilogy. but like religion's a big undertone of that, or not even undertone, pretty overt and stuff. And it's kind of funny because it's like everywhere.
A lot of scary nuns too.
Yeah.
A lot of scary nuns.
It was
terrifying.
I think that's what triggered this video.
I think that's also why I'm like, there's scarier religious movies out there. Like this is, you're just talking about that it being scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I wanted the trailer. Sold me.
No, same.
I'm
Yeah, the trailer far more terrifying than the actual movie.
Great performances. Everybody's great, aside from the elder that just was like, "She's not here." Okay. Oh, also, you got this pamphlet?
I was also very confused.
Topher Grace.
Kind of going back to that, I was also very confused because at that point we don't know that he's moved the bikes.
Yeah.
I got that once it was on a different jacket. I'm like, oh, he moved the bikes. That's why it's in a different jacket.
Oh yeah. I guess I'm dumb.
Well, no, I don't think you're dumb. I think that's deliberate. Like, I think you're supposed, like, I think they wrote it with the intent that different people are going to pick up on this at different times.
Yeah.
And that's why they showed it again, like him walking to show that literally they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to follow Topher, be like, is he going to call the cops now? Like, what's going to happen to these girls? Like, how much does he care about finding his non-elders?
Well, see, this is where I was confused on why the Mormon religion loves this movie.
Yeah.
Is because to me that was like kind of a commentary on Mormonism of like, oh, you care more about, you came back and gave him the pamphlet.
Yeah.
Like you're more focused on that than you are finding these missing girls.
That's why I felt about how I felt too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then in terms of a movie scale, where are you putting that? 1 to 10 as well.
I mean, I really liked it, so I'd say probably an 8.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
8.
I'll give it like a 4.5.
All right.
I like the performance.
You're not on board. You're not on board with this movie.
I just didn't like. I really wanted to because I liked a lot of my friends that liked it. I'm like, okay, cool. I can't wait to see it. Then I'm like, oh, it's just it's not a horror movie to me.
Get that, yeah.
It's a movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And
That's
I guess
we're not. You're not getting fired. Don't worry. You're fine.
I'm the devil's advocate. And
I think there are certain horror movies, and I tend to like these a lot, but where it's like a drama with scary elements, and it's still technically horror. And I think this could maybe be lumped in with that. I would also say, speaking of Mike Flanagan, I would say a lot of Mike Flanagan's stuff kind of falls into that too, where it's like this was a drama first, and then it was scary second.
Yeah.
It's good. That's a good button. That's a good button on it. Yeah. Last thing before we start closing up, how would you recommend people watch this movie? Like what's the scenario you'd say like is best time to watch?
I think you should go the day after the election.
I don't think you could top that. Truly.
Go after you're massively disappointed.
I'm sure I would have felt differently
in
too.
the world.
I do think that honestly had a really I'm in love with this movie, but I'm like maybe because it's the first thing you saw that made you feel better. Like, yeah.
Like I watched The Shining in Japan when we found out that what happened. I'm like, this is great. I forgot how much this movie way better than what's going on.
I don't know what I watched right after the election.
It was weird because then after that, the next few days there was no other movies in English, and I was like, why was it just this one day with The Shining? Or I couldn't find any others.
we just knew the Americans.
Maybe
needed it.
It was just for you. Yeah, she needs this. Yeah.
Well, Kandice, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having me.
you having you here. You got your camera right over here. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on.
What do I have going on? You can find me on Instagram at Kandice_Martellaro_. Yeah, I mean, I'm around, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
She also has you have a horror short that you released during Screamfest.
Yeah.
Any chance people are going to see that anytime, like on YouTube or anywhere?
Yeah, I will. I will post it on YouTube soon. It's called Don't Bring It In. It made the festival circuit.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Kelly very graciously came and saw it. It was very sweet. Yeah.
Let us know.
Better than Heretic. Hot take.
Oh, you've been called out, Hugh Grant.
It doesn't have
Much
anything.
shorter.
Yes.
You've been called out, Scott Beck and Brian Woods. I had to look at their names again. Yeah, let us know when it's officially out and everything. We'll have you back on. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Let's get the eyes on it.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Kelly, where can people find you? What you got going on?
Just everywhere. Kelly McInerney on Instagram, TikTok, around town, all that stuff. Is this better?
That's fine.
Okay.
For the end of the episode.
Yeah. Where can we find you, Jules?
Hey, you guys can find me on all the things Julian F. Comedy, julianfcomedy.com for all my show dates and tour dates. You guys can follow this podcast at Horror Bin Pod on Instagram and everywhere. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Let's build a congregation of a podcast community
A
here.
cult?
A cult. Let's build a cult of podcast fans. And was there one other thing I was supposed to? No,
I don't think
no.
so.
Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us
Amen.
know what you. Yeah. That's a better way to end it. God damn it, Kelly. I should have waited. But let us know what you guys thought of Heretic. Let us know what movies you guys want us to talk about, cover on this show. We'll take a look. We'll see if we can put it on the list, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. But once again, Candice, thank you so much for being on the pod.
Thank
Really
you for having
appreciate it. Definitely gonna have you back on. Kelly, as always, thank you for being here.
Julian, as always, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. Very formal here. And as we say at the end of every episode,
Amen.
amen. Bye.